Hi guys, welcome to this session. How's everyone doing? I'm super excited to be here. Really excited to be here. Once again, I'm Ikechukwu from 623 Ventures, and we have a great session in store for you guys. So today we'll get right into it. What we're discussing today is understanding the youth culture in Nigeria. So the topic is understanding the youth culture in Nigeria. And youth culture is something that's really important because we have a lot of young people over here, and we need to understand what they're all about, how they live their lives, what prompts their decisions, what do they do, what are their interests, why are things the way they are right now. And that's why we felt the need to emphasize on this properly so a lot of people get an in-depth analysis, a proper view of what the youth culture here in Nigeria looks like. And I'm sure this one is going to be a good one. And I'm really excited to be presenting this. So the word youth culture means how the youth live their lives, from their dressing, interaction, interests, decisions, ethics, religion, beliefs, languages, tribes, whatever, however you look at it in an socio-economic kind of way in a community, you look at the way the youths are living their lives, what they believe in, what they do, what they're interested in, how they go about business, what they think about life entirely, their ideologies, their beliefs. This encapsulates everything youth culture. All this could be found in the word, in what youth culture is about. And for us to truly understand this, we need to really have a deep idea, a deep analysis of what prompts these actions, what prompts these patterns in their youth's activities, their youthful exuberance, and everything as regards the youth. Why are the youths acting like this? Why are the youths this way? Why are young people like this in Nigeria? What makes young people believe in such and so things? So this is why this topic is really important because honestly, we have a very young population, one of the youngest in the world, arguably one of the populations that's skyrocketing. We are predicted to be the fourth most populous nation in 2030 by the United Nations. And we're over 200 million people right now. And a majority of all of them are the young people. And it's important for us to have this understanding moving forward. And this is already sounding really interesting and exciting. So this quote we have on the screen here is something that really explains everything. It's very on point as regards what the youth culture, what culture is in this part of the world. So Nigeria, the quote is by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, one of the best writers on the planet, arguably one of the best writers on the planet, and she's of Nigerian origin. She's a Nigerian. She's Igbo to be precise, and she said Nigeria is to Africa what the U.S. is to the Americas. She dominates Africa's cultural imagination. So what she's trying to explain here is we're literally called Nigerians, or Nigeria is literally referred to or termed as the giants of Africa. So when it comes to Africa, when you hear of Africa, a lot of people, when they hear of Africa, the first thing that comes to their mind is Nigeria. Oh, are you Nigerian? Have you been to Nigeria? What's Nigeria like? And you go all around the world and you meet one Nigeria almost in every country on the planet, literally everywhere, with people that love to travel. And so you tend to understand why she made this statement saying that Nigeria is to Africa what the US is to the Americas. Because in America, in North America, it's literally the United States. A lot of people hear of the US. It's one country that comes to your mind when you hear of America, and it has America attached to the name. So it's the same. It's in the same vein. You can say that the same, or you can assume the same about Nigeria, because when you come over here, a lot of people want to come to Nigeria from other African countries, a lot of people from other countries in the world hear about Nigeria. Nigeria dominates a lot of things from the music to the fashion to entertainment to creative industry to movies. We are literally championing the cause in all the sectors in tech, whatever way you look at it. So this statement was spot on when she said Nigeria is to Africa what the US is to the Americas, because we are literally a country that has a rich culture. We are rich in culture. We have over 700 tribes, languages. Lots of people in this country are really, 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 really vested in their language, in their culture, in their beliefs, their religion, their ideologies. We have our diverse nature, but we are all in the same geographical zone. And this is something that's really interesting. This is something that keeps evolving, keeps showing new shades every day. We see new things, we hear new events, and it's really, really, really spot on to understand that this is how it has always been. We are the giants of Africa. We are literally dominating the cultural space in Africa. And this is no disrespect to other African countries because they are also having beautiful and amazing cultures. But we're, for the sake of our presentation today, this presentation is just to enlighten or broaden your understanding of what the youth culture or the Nigerian culture is as at today. So we're going to the next slide. The next slide. So this is something we've taken note of. There's a magazine called the Native Magazine. It's a magazine by young Nigerian people who shed the light on the Nigerian culture for people in the diaspora. And we decided to cite them because they made solid solid facts of what was happening in the country or what is happening in the country at this point in time. So Nigerian culture is definitely on an all-time high. We have leading leading young people who are doing amazing things in different sectors of the economy or of the country. And that's the good thing about it. When you think of anything young and anything good and positive and daring and mind blowing, it's being done by the young people. Now we're not saying the older generation didn't do their bits. Obviously, they helped us transition from what we were before down to what we are right now. But if you look at it emphatically, if you look at it in details, you will understand that the culture right now, the movement is really big, and the young people are big on doing whatever they want to do. Like they say to hell, they go all in, they do the beat. And we cited two people here, an Afrobeat superstar, Wizkid. He's been doing amazing. He has an album which is also called Made in Lagos this year, and it was out last year, and it's been doing amazing numbers. He's not only the person who's breaking boundaries in that space. There are lots of artists and lots of musicians and comedians and entertainers and actors and fashion moguls and people who are very, very much creative or who are in the creative space and daily, they're breaking boundaries and proving their points, leaving their footprints on the sands of time. So this was one of the cited documentaries we saw, and it was something that explained exactly what we had in mind. That's why we brought it up in this presentation. And another person on that was made mention of here was Chimamanda, which we just saw her quotes. She is arguably one of the best writers on the planet, and she's been doing amazing stuff, especially for the for the women, because it's a big deal for a lot of ladies to to see what she's doing. She's like a role model to a lot of people because she's steadily raising the bar. So she has won lots of awards. So you can see now that at this point in time, there's nothing that's stopping a lot of us. There's nothing that's stopping the young person in Nigeria. The young person in Nigeria sees that people there sees his idols, his or her idols, like the pop stars, the Afrobeat stars, the actors, actresses, the musicians, the artists, the fashion people, they see all these fashion brands, they see all this young Nigerian people who are doing or making a name for themselves, and they tell themselves, I can literally do what these people are doing. I can literally get to the level and do more than what they're doing. They can literally see that it's something that can be obtained, it's obtainable, so or achievable. So this says a lot for a lot of young people because they're coming from a place where there's a lot of things that tend to mitigate your progress or tend to affect where you're getting, where you try to achieve your dreams or how you try to achieve your dreams. So this says a lot, and we decided to cite this here, and it says a lot because the Native magazine is an amazing magazine. You might want to check that out also. So to fully understand the culture, like I said, you need to understand some certain things about the Nigerian youth. And you have to give deep thought to fashion and style. And you have to give deep thought to art, to music, to lifestyle, to ethics, to education, to everything, religion, everything that surrounds what the youth is or what the youth experiences or what the youth faces in their day-to-day life. You have major fashion brands like you have some Nigerian fashion brands like Ashlocks doing big things on a global stage. You have local actors, Nigerian born actors being featured on huge films, Hollywood movies, Nigerian artists featuring or working on records with big artists, international artists, the biggest pop stars on the planet. You have comedians having mad or astronomical numbers on their YouTube channels. Everyone is on social media. There's a lot of things that are happening in the Nigerian space right now. And for us to understand why the youth and its power, it's literally being done by the young people because obviously we have a very young population. And to understand why it's being done like that, we need to look at some certain things like the fashion, we need to look at style, we need to understand the art, we need to understand music, we need to understand lifestyle, we need to understand ethics, which understand education. So that's why this is really, really important for a lot of us. This is something that tells us, okay, once we understand what the fashion space looks like in this part of the world, we can now tell you, okay, this is why Nigerian young people are on dreads, why they are on this, why they are on that, what these are things that prompt their decisions, these are things that prompt their ideas, these are things that prompt their beliefs and their dreams. So this is very, very important for a lot of us here. So here we stated arguably popular culture, Western lifestyle, and social media have a huge influence on youth today. Now you can't dispute the fact that a lot of young people see a lot of things. We've there's been an inter there's been an exchange of culture. We've exported, we've introduced some culture, some part of the culture, the Western culture. Obviously, we were a colonized nation or a colonized state before we gained independence. So we still have those traces and trinkets of Western culture within our borders. And it has trickled down a little bit, but it's still found in our our understanding of life, our beliefs. We still look up to some of the Western world, some beliefs, some ideologies from the Western world. A lot of people are adopting it, feminism, um, being open to same-sex marriage, lots of things, tattoos, paintings, murals, lots of things are being imported or are being accepted by a lot of young people here. And this is solely because we've always had that exchange, that two-way exchange of culture. We export our culture. People are interested in what is happening. They like our festivals. They like how we behave. They are intrigued as to how Nigerians are. Why are Nigerians like this? Why are Nigerians a little bit different from other Africans? What makes you a Nigerian? And this says a lot. So you can see that social media also is a big deal because they are literally some of we literally use some of the biggest social media platforms over here. We're always, if you want to hear anything about Nigeria, if you want to know about Nigeria, you can literally find a lot of facts or a lot of people who are Nigerians on Twitter, on Facebook. Facebook is maybe you can liken it to the older generation, but a lot of people love Twitter. Young people love Twitter here in Nigeria. Um, the NSAS process and protest that just ended last year, that happened last year, it was literally it kick-started on Twitter, and it gained momentum, it gained coverage, it gained traffic on Twitter, it gained everyone listened to what was happening via Twitter. Everyone knew what was happening via Twitter, and that was probably the reason why the government decided to place a ban on Twitter this year, sometime this year. So social media has always influenced our lives. We see a young person on the streets of Lagos or on the streets of Enugu or in Port Harcourt or in one part of the north or in Kano or in Jos can literally look on his phone. We're always interested in. We have a lot of people who use smartphones here in Nigeria compared to a lot of countries. We have some of the highest numbers, and they literally just want to check their Facebook and Twitter, and then they see what their idols are doing, and they're like super interested. They want to act like that. So this influences the youth of today. They see tattoos. They're now more open to tattoos. We used to have people were um who were always we had a rigid way of thinking, but right now we're more flexible. We've been open. This generation has been super open about a lot of things, and it shows that there has been an intrusion of influence from the Western lifestyle, from the pop culture, from social media on the Nigerian youth today. So, like I said, um, it's also boiling down to the fact that we just want progress. We're people of progress. We've been through a lot. We go through a lot of things in this country. The average Nigerian youth literally has to cater for himself and literally in almost every way. Um, we are not easily we're not we're not having the best of lives. We don't have the basic amenities of life. We're living below $1. A lot of people live below $1 daily. A lot of people don't have jobs. Life is challenging and difficult for so many people. um, there are people who are being very corrupt, and therefore they put other people's lives in danger. So looking at that, we always want to progress. We're coming from that history, and we want to get to a place where our dreams are achievable. Um, we can make progress. We can forge ahead. We're looking for better days. People always say Nigerians suffer in silence. They're suffering and smiling. That's what a lot of people say. We are always suffering and smiling. And it's always been like that for a long time. But notwithstanding, we have things that we look forward to. And this is as a result of what we see, what we hear. We're always looking out for what's best, what's happening, how can we get better lives for ourselves. So this is literally where we stand right now as a young population, as a young nation. We have parties, we have reality TV, we have people are open to tattoos, exhibitions, acceptance of queer people, of the LGBT community. People are considering same marriages. People open up to their families about being someone who is interested in the same sex. There's a big movement of feminism. I mean, the NSAS movement was literally an eye opener to the feminist coalition, and lots of things. Livelihood has changed. People don't. It's not the same way it was before. Our parents did an amazing job of getting us to where we are. Our forefathers, our ancestors, but right now we're more open. It doesn't trickle down. Just because we are open to the Western world doesn't mean it trickles down, or it has reduced our own acceptance of our culture. No, we know who we are. We know where we're from. We know what brought us here. We know our history. We know we have a history. We know where we're coming from. They say if you don't know where you're coming from, you probably don't have a chance of getting to where you want to go to. But a lot of young people know where they're coming from. They still have A lot of them who are in the diaspora, who are in different countries in the world, because we travel a lot, because we're always looking out for better opportunities and a good life out there, they still remember home. They always remember there's something, there's a home. This is what is obtainable in Nigeria. And they might not conform to all that's being imported as regards culture from the Western world. So this is something we wanted to point out. This is something that's really important also. Um, Here we say Nigeria's economy is failing to meet the requirements of the country's growing youth population. Therefore, Generation Z or Gen Z and millennials are looking for methods to prosper in an uncertain environment. Yeah, so a lot of young people, the Gen Zs and the millennials and post millennials or pre millennials, whichever one you fall into, a lot of young Nigerians are have been through a lot. The economy, the government has failed obviously, or is failing to meet a lot of the requirements we're looking for. And as times change, um, dynamics change, needs change, people, the environment, society changes. So people are coming of age, people are asking questions, asking the right questions, seeking for help, understanding what is happening, why things are the way they are, questioning the status quo. And so this is what is obtainable here in Nigeria. um, every day we see new things pop up, new things happen, um, shows, new artists is bringing up one way or the other. So many people are like we're literally jumping ship from the traditional avenues. We're abandoning the traditional avenues and we're pushing our passions. Unlike before, let's say for instance, some years back in Nigeria, if you told someone, if you're a young person and you told someone you wanted to play football or you wanted to pursue a career in sports, your parents would probably look at you like, what are you saying? You need to go to school and get a degree first. And yes, a degree is really important, but you can see some people who their major passion, or you could literally tell they were made for this type of life, to be a sportsman or an athlete. A lot of them now they place that as priority. Unlike before, you would have to literally bring it down the list or have to seek permission. It's like unacceptable. You have to do this so that you get a life. But now parents see that, oh, you can actually pursue your dream and actually achieve what you want to achieve whilst you get an education. And it has not always been like that. The same way for music, same way for lots of careers or professions and passions in fashion, entertainment, arts, sports, anything regarding youth. It's not the same traditional, it's not the same way it was before. Now things have changed. Um, we're also becoming more politically active. This is really, really good. It's coming at a good time because right now a lot of young people are now thinking about politics. A lot of young people are now trying to get involved since it's not been working right. What can we do to change this? So this is how it is at this point in time. Um, we're now becoming active via social media. We're now becoming active. We're registering for parties, getting our voters cards. People are now concerned about the nation because I tell a lot of my friends this: the older generation, the country is going to be left with us. Our parents are going to leave eventually, and then it's our duty as the young Nigerians who are who are of coming of age right now to move this country to where it wants to be because they've done our parents have done their own part. They literally can change a lot. Now we are the future. They say we are the future of tomorrow, or we're the future leaders of tomorrow. So it's it all boils down to us doing what we need to do to sort out the country, to make the country work, to make things right. And luckily for us, a lot of people, popular musicians, superstars, artists, entertainers, and the average Nigerians on the streets, which is a very, very important part of the movement, are now becoming politically active. They're now asking questions. You can't come tell someone. Politicians now have to reevaluate what they want to do in office because they know there is a young population that's literally waiting for them, that's literally that has an understanding of how things work, how politics are done, how governments should be run. And this is an eye opener. This is something that has not always been the case. And also, in reference to the NSAS protest of last year, sometime last year, October last year, it further buttressed the point that we are now becoming more politically active. It was one of the, it was, it is, or it was, because I still believe in the movement. It was one of the longest and defining moments in modern day Nigerian history and activism. We hear stories of the events, the activisms, and the riots of the past, from the Aba Women's riots down the line. We've never experienced something like this before. And I feel this sense shocking, like it sends shockwaves down the spines of a lot of political people who are in the political class, a lot of people who are in power. And now they understand the message was loud and clear that we now understand we're here to stay. The Nigerian youth now understands what is being done. They now understand what is happening. They want to be part of it. They want to understand how to run the country better. And this says a lot. So we're going to the next slide. Now we're going Lagos. Lagos is amazing. Lagos is one of the cities we always hear. We're always talking about Lagos because Lagos is where everything happens to an extent. Uh, in summary, it's a conurbation of young dreams. It's like a place where everything comes in. Everything just everybody's coming to Lagos. Things are happening in Lagos every day. There's a saying that people go by. If you know make up for Lagos, you know if you make up for anywhere, which means that's being said in pidgin language, and I'm going to translate that. It literally means if you can't make it in Lagos, you can't make it in anywhere. And if you can make it in Lagos, you can make it anywhere. So this explains how it's a mix of a lot of emotions. One day you're in traffic, there's traffic, it's a proper cosmopolitan city, a proper business city, a proper young a young man or young woman's dream place where you can come and achieve your dreams, make money, obviously, make a life for yourself. Lagos is literally one of the cities in Africa that you can achieve that. And it's important that we lay emphasis on Lagos because we have one of the largest population of the young people here in Lagos. So Lagos is the country's economic, cultural, and aspirational axis, which means it's here. Here is where, in terms of the economy, understanding the youth culture, aspirations and dreams, emotions. This is where it all happens. This is the epicenter of a lot of things happening in Nigeria. So it's a mix of New York. You can say it's a mix of New York, San Francisco, um, Silicon Valley in the day, and at night it looks there are lots of activities. It's like Las Vegas. He has the vibes of Las Vegas, Ibiza, because you can have so much fun here in Lagos. So it represents all the rights and wrongs of present day Nigeria. So what this means is everything good and everything bad happens in Lagos, literally. And this boils down to the young people also, because we have a lot of young people here in Lagos doing business, going about the businesses, trying to make a life for themselves. And this tells a lot because if you understand what's happening in Lagos, you can understand how the young people, what their culture is like, what is thriving, what is moving the young culture, the young people's culture here in Nigeria, the youth culture. So we go to the next slide. So here we have a picture of the CEO of Twitter, Jack Dorsey. when he came to Nigeria, one of his visits to Nigeria. There are lots of people who come to Africa, and the first place to tell you they want to come to Lagos because it's literally where it's all happening here in Lagos. Always happening in Lagos. Um, so Lagos doesn't sleep. It has a lot of activities. You're waking up by 5. A young man or a young woman is waking up by 5, trying to beat traffic, go to work, or go make a living for himself. Um, Go to the office, and you're in public transport or private transport. There's traffic. In every single pocket or every corner or every nook and cranny of this city, something is happening. And a majority of the time, it's always a life-changing event. Things are happening in there, and it's all connected. It seems like there's a big picture and everything is still connected. So that's the fun of Lagos. It's it's always a good thing when people come to Lagos, international businessmen, top CEOs, humanitarian activists, um, lots of people, presidents and political heads, heads of state, when they come to Lagos, they always tell you that Lagos is really, really a place you want to visit anytime. We've had visits from a lot of dignitaries, and we have all warmed up to the thrills and uniqueness of the city. They always tell you, they want to go back to Lagos, they want to experience Lagos, but they tell you about their times in Lagos and the spirit of the young people who are always on about the business, hustling, trying to make a living in really dire times when things are really, really on the low, when things are really, really challenging. A lot of young people always stick out their neck, stick out their head, and try to make a life for themselves, try to make a future for themselves, the future they need. So lots of these people, when the foreigners, when they come to Lagos, they see this. You can literally see it on every street in Lagos. You can see it in every part of Lagos, and you have to be 100% sure of what you want from Lagos. And Lagos gives you what you want. If you want success, it definitely will give you success. And the young people here in this town make the city work, not to say the least. So we have a very huge or a very large group of young people who are steadily pushing the state, putting the country on the new pedestal every single day. And it's really saddening to see that our parents or people who are in places of power or people who have brought us to the space, they a lot of people are the idea or they have the idea or they have the school of thought that they should have done better. And obviously people who would come after us, generations coming after us, would definitely also think the same thing or in the same light. So yeah, so that's what it is about right now. A lot of young people here in Lagos make the city work, and when people who come over to Lagos experience Lagos, they always have something to take away with. They always tell you about the daily activities, the traffic, the street sellers, people literally hustling, working so hard to make a life for themselves, and it's one of their favorite places to experience. So we're going to the next slide. So yeah, it says if you can make it in Lagos, you can make it anywhere. I just mentioned that before, and this is for a fact. Lagos is where you can, if you have your head down, trying to make a life for yourself. A lot of people who come into this city are tourists, are visitors. They're not literally. They're not. You can't say they are born and brought up in Lagos. The majority of I don't have the exact figures, but the majority of the people in Lagos are not born or are not from Lagos State. They are majorly people who trooped into Lagos. Every day, young people are coming to Lagos every single hour of the day to come and find their daily bread, to come and make a living for themselves. Because it seems like everything works here, businesses thrive here. You can literally make times three of what you make on this part and in a business in the city compared to other cities. And this says a lot. Lagos was the capital of Nigeria at some point, and the city grew to be like the commercial hub, not only in Nigeria, in West Africa, and in Africa entirely. So you can see the reason why people are always coming over here to come and make a life for themselves. So that says a lot. Lagos is a harbor of the young Nigerians' dream and aspirations in every ramification. This means that there are opportunities, however limited they are, for those who are brave and diligent enough to make use of it. So a lot of young people are trooping into Lagos to come and experience Lagos, and this shows the desire, the drive that you can find in a lot of young people here in Lagos, because they believe that once you're here, some people will tell you that a lot of their family members believe once you've gone to Lagos, you've made it, and that's true. That says a lot to an extent, because it's not it's not totally false, because it's you have you literally can make a living for yourself in this city, and compared to other cities, it's not the same, because there are lots of people here, obviously, and businesses. We have ports here, seaports here. We have one of the one of the best international airports here. Um, all the utilities and facilities, or the things you need for a thriving city to move forward, are found here in Lagos. In transport services, health services, business, e-commerce, creative industry, it's all happening in Lagos. And that's why we say you can make it in Lagos, you can make it anywhere. So next slide. Yeah, I love Lagos. The blend of madness and bad air imposes itself on you throughout the city. A city that barely sleeps 3 o'clock in the morning, 3 a.m., 12 a.m., every single hour of the day. Lagos is awake. Things are happening. People are moving. People want to catch flights. It's always happening in Lagos. One day you wake up feeling sad that you have to leave before 3 a.m. because you need to beat the traffic on your way to Surrey. Um, for those who work on the island, people have to transit. You're always seeing people moving to major popular bus stops like Oshodi, Obalende, and the island on the mainland. And yes, Lagos is divided into two parts, the island and the mainland. So you have a lot of young people who are moving to their workplaces, who are who are trying to get ahead of the day, get their day started properly. Um, and then it's just a mix of a lot of activities on a daily basis. So you're one day, one time of the day you're feeling sad, you miss the bus. Another time of the day you're trying to understand what's happening. You're confused, you're overwhelmed, you're happy, you're sad. So it's a mix of a lot of emotions, and this is as a result of also the amount of young people found here. So unlike before, these days, the streets of Lagos and other parts of the country are filled with street arts, murals, recreational parks, stylish urban fashionistas, nightlife parties, cinema halls, music festivals, exhibitions. So the youth culture right now is, like I said, very open. Things have changed drastically. We're no more in an age, obviously, digitalization, urbanization hit Lagos the fastest, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So it has rubbed off on the young people over here. So you can see every day young people are going for arts. There are always art shows in different places like the National Theatre of Arts, National Museum, the Nikkei Art Gallery, all these art fabulous places to experience art. Recreational parks are everywhere, and this in this city, young people are found in all these places, having a life for themselves, having a good time. We have some of the best parties here in Lagos. Lagos parties hard, really hard. Um, Cinema halls, IMAX, film house, all of them are always coming down to Lagos. They have outlets here in Lagos where they show amazing movies for young people. Because I mean, if you want to make money in Nigeria and you're looking at where to really make money, because you have to take into cognizance the young demography. If you're looking at that, if you're looking in that demographic region, You need to understand that Lagos is first on so many lists, and it's been so for so many good reasons. So you have all these businesses down here because the amount of people who are here who are making a living for themselves, who need the services, are found in Lagos, and they are majorly young people. So you have nightlife parties, cinema halls, music festivals, exhibitions, events, name it, whatever you want to look for is found in Lagos. And this shows the culture of the people, the young people here in Lagos. It shows these are these are the things that are shaping what's how we think. We're now a modernized young population. We're now looking at the dreams of our dreams being valid enough. We're now seeing things being done and replicating them. You have young people like I'll give you an instance. There's a group of young boys called the Ikorodu Boys, and recently they recently did. They like they make use of their environment to make skits of movies, trailers of movies, and it looks almost like a replica of Hollywood blockbusters. And you see Hollywood giants like The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, um, directors like Spielberg, um, TV show hosts like Steve Harvey, calling these young people and encouraging them from their stations to where the young ones are found here in Lagos, and they're amazed at the amount of talent that comes out of Lagos. And to be honest, if you ask anybody about the young people here in Lagos, Nigerian young people are really, really, really doing amazing stuff for themselves. This is really one of the best times. I know we have better days ahead, but this is literally one of the best times to be a Nigerian youth. Next slide. So here, we're talking about what Lagos is like. Obviously, new buildings spring up. This is the civic center over here. New buildings are springing up daily. Um, they're trying to recover land from the water. There are there are massive smart city movements like the Eco Atlantic Smart City. Um, yeah, buildings every day, real estate developments going on here and there at every look and cranny. One day you see an empty space of land, the next day you're seeing a shopping mall, a plaza, a cinema, a galleria. So this is how it is, and they, this are being done because they're making provisions for the young people, the young growing population of people who are coming into Lagos, who reside in Lagos or who visit Lagos. So contractors are building with sometimes a large informal or unskilled workforce that they can find at a cheap and accessible rate. They just want to build homes, build properties, um, rent out properties, start development here and there. So this tells a lot. This paints a perfect picture. So here, although Lagos is majorly of Yoruba origin, it is also Nigeria's major polyglot city. So a polyglot is, in simple terms, a city that has different people speaking different languages. So we have different people speaking lots of languages. You have all of them in one geographical zone, in one state. Um, the Igbo businessman who's coming from the eastern part of Nigeria or who resides in Lagos doing his trading, running his businesses. You have northern merchants who come to Lagos to run their businesses, purchase products, do business, meet their stakeholders, meet their clients. You have foreign expatriates. A lot of them are found here in Lagos because we have multinational companies, huge international firms and and brands over here. Southern oil companies are coming over here. People who work there, you have them over here. You have their headquarters. Most of them are headquartered here in Lagos. They have branches here in Lagos because we have a seaport here. Um, Nigeria's major, arguably the only functioning seaport that you can think of here in Lagos. Compared to we have literally two or three functioning seaports, but Lagos is where majority of the the goods coming to Nigeria or goods being sent out of Nigeria pass through Lagos. You have civil servants, Yorubas, you have Igbos, you have Hausas, you have Shekiri, you have Southerners, you have Ijaw, you have Tiv, you have Northerners, you have Fulani, all of them found. You have French people, you have foreign expatriates, all found in this city, and that adds to the the youthful vibe the city has. Um, Everyone is just going about the business, and it tells you how progressive the city is. So we're still talking about Lagos, and now fashion and style amongst. Now we're looking at the fashion. Um, Fashion is a big deal for Nigerians. There are lots of fashion brands that pop up these days. Um, so for the average Nigerian youth, fashion and style amongst them is a hybrid of local dressing, accessories, shows, and global trends. So what this means is, like I said before, uh, we we're not discarding just because we're allowing or we're having this intuition or sorry, this importation of foreign, oh my God, this importation of foreign culture into our own culture or into the country doesn't mean we have neglected our local culture or our beliefs. That's not the case. So we still imbibe our culture, we still adhere to what has been part of us or is part of us for a long time. So we can see it in our fashion and style. We have fashion brands and um, fashion people, or we are very fashionable people. You can say that we our fashion space has a mix of global trends, and fashion shows, accessories, our local dressing and accessories also. And we can see that these brands, this the major players in that sector, the key holders, majorly they always look to cater for the young people. They're always trying to put that on the top level first because they know that majority of their goods, their services, their 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 activities are to cater for the needs of those who are young, and it can be found in different parts of Lagos and Nigeria. Some of the big brands here, some of the favorite brands here are Larry Macun, Ashlocks. There are lots of big brands who are doing big things, who are also showing off their brands on global runways. So that says a lot. That says a whole lot. So this is really important for us. Um, and you can see also the influence of other parts of the entertainment sector on the fashion industry. You can literally, it's visible. You can see reasons as to why some fashion brands make use of Ankara, or they look at some of the fashion, the music artists or the the creative designers or the movies or the trends. They look at other parts of the industry and they imbibe it, or they pick a thing or two from those parts of the industry and put it into their products or their brands. And one particular part of the industry, one part of the creative industry is the music industry. It's it is obvious because a lot of times you see all these music artists, you see all of them showing off luxury brands, showing off the local, showing off things that it's an industry of glitz and glamour. So sometimes, or largely most of the times, this sector, the entertainment sector and the music sector, affects what we have as fashion trends. Um, this year or last year, every year there's a new trend that's coming out. People are looking at new ways of having clothes, what kind of clothes are in vogue, what's the fad now, and this says a lot. And the music industry contributes to this a whole lot also. So here we cited Bono Boy, which is a Grammy award-winning artist from Nigeria, and he just like a lot of top celebrities and superstars, music superstars in Nigeria. He did a collaboration with Boohoo Man. Wizkid also had his own with Puma. They have major international brands behind them. So he did a book collaboration with Boohoo Man, and the collaboration was a new collection, and it was designed and created here in Lagos and Manchester. And he had things that were designed, co-designed by him, where he worked on this project for a long time. And you can see it's the same thing with a lot of artists, other music artists. They play a part in music and fashion are almost like two peas of the same pod, to be honest, because it's all they're always rubbing off on each other. The music the music scene dictates to an extent what fashion is in vogue. The fashion scene dictates to an extent what the musicians look like, what the music videos look like, how they dress and all that. So this is one of the numerous instances. Burna Boy's partnership and collaboration with Bohemian has had lots of those in the past and still has lots of them after this one. And the same applies for top celebrities and artists like Tiwa Savage, Davido, Wizkid. Lots of them are doing amazing stuff, and their brands entirely affect what they wear, what they do, how they wear their partnerships, their collections. They bring out the streetwear collections, classic collections. It affects the fashion industry and the trends. And this is the same way with the average Nigerian youth. A young man, a young woman who's probably a fan of Bonner or a fan of Wiz or a fan of these celebrities, they literally want to look like them, want to wear what they wear. They're super hyped about what they see from their faves or their favorite celebrities, and sometimes they want to purchase this kind of items. They want to look like them. It affects how the youth culture moves. Some trends in the youth culture, fashion wise, and that's a big deal. And now moving to the Nigerian music industry is one of the fastest growing in the world. I mean, it's top tier content, top tier level right now. Um, it's an annual growth rate of 13.4%, while the film industry is this country's second largest employer. Sorry, I'll take that again. The Nigerian music industry is one of the fastest growing in the world, with an annual growth rate of 13.4%, while the film industry, according to the IMF is the International Monetary um, Fund, I'm guessing, is the country's second largest employer. So this explains a lot. This this goes further to portray what we have our point here, which explains how the music industry is at or this the creative industry is doing amazing well. Now the average young Nigerian sees the possibility of him or her achieving their dreams more in the creative industry. So every day a new pop star, a new Afrobeat star, a new artist is on the merge or is on the verge, is popping up somewhere, or his music is being played somewhere on the radio, or he wants to be an artist. He comes out from school or before even going into school, and he tells you he wants to go into music, he wants to have a record deal, or he wants to have an A&R firm or something like that. Um, so the music industry is at a very good point right now. Um, Pioneers are doing amazing stuff. Newcomers are pushing the boundaries. New artists, new executives new record labels. All of them are doing amazing stuff at this point in time. Um, the Nollywood, which is of the countries, the film industry is referred to as the Nollywood. It's it's a big employer of young people. Um, every day, a lot of young people want to become actors and actresses. They watch movies are a big thing here. We have local content that's going doing amazing numbers. Netflix has always been particular about the Nigerian space. Um, so it shows it shows its own effects on the Nigerian youth because the Nigerian youth now, as a progressive people, we're always looking for this kind of opportunities. We're always looking to have an experience of what Netflix is like, have an experience of what music. We're always trying new things. That's one thing. That's one thing for sure. So the creative space has always contributed to this because it is also majorly pioneered by the young people. So these numbers say a lot also about what is happening. Nigerians love music. We are drawn to sounds in ways that no other black community is. We love music a lot. Wherever you are in the world, you just want to listen to music. You just want to have a good time. We're all for the good time, young people in particular. So we learn and are open to other cultures whilst bringing our local content to the center of our craft. Um, this is a, a vivid or a strong point as regards our youth culture. We're a music-oriented people. Wherever you are in the world, when you hear in Nigeria, when Nigerians hear one of their favorite artists or one of their local artists is playing or is playing a center or is having a show at a place, they literally want to buy out the place and go see their favorite artists and celebrities. Um, Recently, Whiskey has been on his Made in Lagos tour and he's been selling out huge huge places in the US and Europe, huge centers, having appearances from lots of guest artists, lots of Nigerians. So it's the same way locally and in diaspora. We're people of music. We love music a lot because people tend to say it drowns all our sorrows away because we have a lot of sorrows or we have a lot of things that are going through our lives on a daily basis. So this is understandable a lot. This explains it a lot, to be honest with you. Next slide. The Nigerian youth comes from a background deeply rooted in ethics, morals, and religion. This reflects in our way of living and has been so far for a very long time. Past generations have their views on having marks, tattoos, piercings, sexuality, and life on the edge. The new crop of Nigerians are very daring, however. So, what this means is we're not afraid. The present day Nigerian youth is not scared for anything. They just want to do what they want to do. They often want to try out a lot of things, tattoos, piercings, um, extremities, sexuality, living on the edge, traveling. So the Nigerian youth is literally coming from a place that's rooted in a history rooted in ethics, morals, and religion, but still, we still are open to the the unconventional way of living, the life, the life that has to be that has to be you have to partake in the moment, the life you have to live in the moment, and we always ask questions, we seek clarity. We are very malleable right now. Some people feel it's a bit too malleable because we are sometimes we tend to sorry about that. Sometimes we tend to forget what we have we have had for a very long time. Our ideas and our religion, our people are now second guessing, asking questions as regards was this supposed to be like this? Do you really have to believe in this kind of thing? Is this really the way we're supposed to be looking at when moving forward? And this is the point where like at a very dynamic point right now. It's not it's not all straight. It's not all you can't literally say it's all um it's not it's too clear. You can say there are some places that people have some bloodlines as regards beliefs. There are some places people have bloodlines as regards religion, as regards sexuality. So and people are now open to understanding why some people are like that. So this is what the Nigerian youth culture looks like at this point in time. The Nigerian youth comes from a background deeply rooted in ethics, morals, and religion. Yet we are a very daring crop of Nigerians. We are now seeking clarity. We're now asking questions before if you met your elder and your elder tells you, or someone who's older than you tells you, this is like this, you would have to take it the way it is. But now this young group of people, this young group of Nigerians, this young crop of Nigerians, when they're being told this is like this, they would have to ask you, why is it like this? And this has its positives and negative parts also. It has its pros and cons also. But this is exactly what the picture looks like. And you've got to love Nigeria, to be honest. Um, as regards language, Pidgin English. If you've not heard about Pidgin English, you're not late, but I mean, it's Pidgin English. Pidgin English is a type of English or a form of English that speculates as a Nigerian people, Nigerian Pidgin. As a language, it is arguably the most popular amongst every Nigerian. The reason being that a lot of tribes exist in Nigeria and they have different distinct languages. It's understandable that when you have a lot of people who have different languages and culture, there needs to be a synergy or a language that shows harmony. So we have lots of languages. We have, for instance, Lagos is a polyglot city. We have the polyglot city. It has lots of people from different backgrounds with different languages, different tribes. Um, so for proper communication, the official language in Nigeria is English language, but we had in the years past, the Pidgin language was coined from the English language. Pidgin language is a Nigerian type of language. It's also found in other countries, especially in Western Africa. A lot of people think it sounds or they liken it to patois, Jamaican or Haitian patois. Um, that's different from the Pidgin language, the Nigerian Pidgin language, and it emanated from the traders during the colonial times and the past times, our ancestors who wanted to have a form of communication with the the foreigners who were coming into the country, who were coming into our lands, and they didn't understand English totally well, if I'm not mistaken, and they wanted to conduct trade, so they had to figure out a language that would help them conduct trade better. So pidgin language is very important because an Igbo man can't be speaking Igbo to Yoruba man, and a lot of people in Nigeria are not so literate. And aside the fact of the the point of literacy, aside considering literacy, um, you need a language that shows harmony. You need a language that's understandable by a lot of people. A lot of people can understand it, can reflect, can relate to it, can speak to each other in that language. It shows um, a common sense of goal, harmony, understanding, communication, proper communication, and pidgin English language is the answer for all this. It's a fun language. It's easily the most popular. It's the unofficial official language of Nigeria. Let's say that. So that's what it is. So it's understandable that when you have a lot of people who have different languages and cultures, there needs to be a synergy or a language that shows harmony. I mean, you need to you need an Igbo trader or an Igbo businessman to be able to communicate properly with a Yoruba or an Hausa or a Nupe or an Ijaw businessman or woman. And majority of them um, may not be able to speak your language or the English language properly, and the language they understand to connect properly to explain things to each other, to communicate properly is pidgin English, because it's well known by a lot of people. It's it transcends every tribe in Nigeria. So next slide. For young people in Nigeria, the pidgin language is way more than just the language. It conforms with culture, values, harmony, communications. Languages, just like good stories, bring and unite people together. So what unites people? A good story. And language is just like good stories. Languages can be likened to good stories because people are all in for a good story, a good time. And for the young people in Nigeria, the pidgin language is the number one language because you can listen to someone and tell them how far, how are you, how you did. And as we go on, we'll be explaining some of the few slangs and phrases are that I just mentioned or that are likened or can be said or can be called the Pidgin English or are used in the Pidgin English language. So the Pidgin English is not just a language, it is way more than that. It shows that you're Nigerian, it confirms with our culture, our values, our way of communication. It's our way of feeling one, feeling united. It's our way of feeling you can speak to someone and oh, you're Nigerian, how far? How you did? Now it shows that, and we love seeing each other whenever we meet each other. Um, an average Nigerian in Nigeria or in the UK or in the US, when they see a Nigerian, the fact that they can speak pidgin to the person or they can communicate with this person, it's their fellow Nigerians in that language shows they have a common place, a common sense of harmony, a common sense of of human human bond, a common sense of value and communication. So it's a very important language. It's the official language of the young people here in Nigeria. Slangs and phrases that resonate with the resilient, creative, and progressive nature of the Nigerian youth are very much popular. And this cuts across different social classes and tribes. So be regardless of what social class or tribe you are, rich, poor, um, working class, owners, business owners, Hausa, Yoruba, whatever language you speak, the pidgin language transcends it. It's there's no respect of any of this. It's just the point where everyone comes to. It's the point where everyone comes and has common ground. You can speak, and person, a poor man who is literally hawking or is on the streets, or a poor woman or a woman trying to make a living for themselves, hawking her goods on the road can speak to someone who is in his car on traffic in a Jeep or an SUV or a saloon car coming back from work in that language, and they understand and they get each other and they have a laugh about it. So it is the language that is for everyone. Um, there are slangs and phrases that resonate with our resilient nature, our creative nature, and our progressive nature of the Nigerian youth. And they are very, very much popular. During the NSAS process, um, we had we had slangs like so it's okay. We had lots of slangs. We always still have. They've always been with us right from the get-go. This pidgin language slangs and the language in itself, and it's really important for the Nigerian youth. So a lot of people mistake this type of language to be Creole or Patois, but honestly, this is entirely different from these languages. We have a map of West Africa, and you can see some of the countries like Ghana, Benin Republic, Togo, Liberia, where this language is spoken, um, just like Nigeria, and it's very, very much popular. It has gained traffic. A lot of people love speaking pidgin language. and it might have a little bit variance or a little bit difference from what is what is obtainable here in Nigeria. The Ghanaian pidgin might be a little bit different, but it's definitely similar. It's understandable. If it's being spoken within between a Nigerian is speaking with a Ghanaian or a Beninese in pidgin, they would understand each other. They might just have a little variance and they would understand what each other is referring to. And it's acceptable by a lot of people. It's a very much popular language. Its popularity knows no boundaries. So here are some of the slangs we thought to highlight. So the first one is how you did. When you meet someone and they tell you how you did, it simply means how are you doing, or how are you today, or how are you. So it has traces of English. If you notice, there's the how, there's the you. Now the difference is the day. So it's almost like how you did. So how are you doing? How are you? So that's one of the slangs of the words. There's another one where you did. Go to the next one, which is where you did, which means where are you? So if you there's some phrases and some slangs that sound the same, are spelt the same, but might mean different meanings and in different contexts, just like you have in the English language. And it's the same way for the pidgin language, the pidgin English language, the Nigerian pidgin. So the next one is come out for here, which means please leave this place. We just listed this out so that you understand. And this is really popular with the Nigerian youth. This is literally part of our lives. Is this doesn't downplay on your intelligence or how good you are or the kind of person you are. It further resonates your Nigerian spirit and understanding of your fellow Nigerian. It's more of a good thing than a negative thing. It doesn't say just because you speak pidgin doesn't mean you're a bad person or you're uneducated. I know it helps a lot of uneducated people to interact a lot, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you're uneducated or a bad person or you are a poor person. No, it doesn't mean that. As a matter of fact, it should be an acceptable way of our lives. It has going to be that, and a lot of young people feel comfortable communicating with this. And with respect to this topic, understanding youth culture, you need to understand. We thought it would be best for you to understand that this is one of the languages that resonates with every young Nigerian. It shows our Nigerian spirit. So, come out for here means please leave this place, which means can you please leave here? Can you please leave this place? Come out for here. The next one is nalai. Nalai, which is this nalai means that's a lie. Nalai. So it's a pidgin phrase, and the English interpretation is that's a lie. The next one is you don't chop. You don't chop. Which is have you eaten? Or they can ask if it's in form of a question, it means have you eaten? If it's in form of a statement, it means it is said, or you can say it in this manner, you don't chop, which means you have eaten or have you eaten, or whichever one works. So this is just a brief explanation of some of the phrases and slangs of the pidgin English. The next one is I dey come, which means I am coming. So it's pretty much straightforward. And if you visit Nigeria, if you happen to visit Nigeria, you speak to any Nigerian, sorry, and they ask you and you ask them about the pidgin English, they'll be thrilled to explain some slangs to you. That's how we are. It's part of us. It's part of our youth culture. It's part of our culture as Nigerians. It's part of our lives, our everyday lives. You can't take away pidgin from the Nigeria. They're always together, and it has done a lot of good because we have apps, we have products, we have. It's now more like an accepted. It's an accepted type of language. It's different from your dialect. For instance, you meet someone, he's Igbo or I'm Igbo. For instance, I'm from the eastern part of Nigeria and Igbo, and I speak Igbo language, which is my dialect, my local dialect. I speak the English language, which is the official language of Nigeria. Then I speak the Pidgin English, which is the unofficial official language of Nigeria, which is literally the language everyone lists, everyone. I can speak to anybody who's a Nigerian or who understands it, or let's say who's majorly a Nigerian, regardless or irrespective of the tribes. I don't have to be concerned that he's Yoruba. He wouldn't listen or he wouldn't understand me, or he's Hausa, or he's Igbo, or he's from the southern part, he's Ijo, or he's Ikwiri or something. I can speak to you. Um, I can speak to someone who's from a different tribe, a different part of Nigeria, in the Pidgin English language, and they would understand. So we have others like when it will be, how it will be, sorry, how will this turn out, waiting they happen, what's happening, who they talk, who is speaking. So these are just a few of the slangs and languages, the Pidgin English slangs and words. And while we're laying emphasis on these languages, for you to understand the youth culture, like we said again, you need to understand their language, how they speak. You need to understand how they speak. For you to understand people properly, you need to know their communication, their means of communication, how they speak. And this is arguably or strongly the number one language for the Nigerian youth, for every Nigerian youth. We are you feel welcome and relaxed when you can speak the Pidgin language with a fellow Nigerian. It shows that, oh, okay, he gets me, she gets me, we get each other. So that's a very important part. Um, the next one. So here we're talking about cybercrime. Now, where we're particular on this is because we're looking at everything. We're looking at both the good and the bad, and we thought to talk about this. So the stigma of cybercrime has long been an issue, and the government keeps trying to address this. However, as a country, as Nigerians, as most Nigerians are aware, also our country is frequently listed as a hotbed for many of these evil activities as a result of the actions of certain of our residents who are bad eggs and crime syndicates, much to our shared embarrassment. So what this means, what we're trying to explain here is, over the years, we've had the stigma of cybercrime. A lot of young people in Nigeria um, have faced this or are currently facing this. As a matter of fact, it was one of the underlying factors that that prompted the NSAS protest. It was one of the, the subtle points that changed the whole sphere, the whole space, and gave birth to the NSAS process. So in Nigeria, there's always been the perception, which is largely wrong. I would say that because a lot of people in this country make their money legitimately, very much legitimately. A lot of young people, the majority of young people make their money legitimately. And if you look at it, every country has the negatives and the positives. If the fact that you are into this or into something that's illegal doesn't doesn't isn't affected by what country you are from. But over the years, due to our past and due to the bad eggs and the the cyber crimes and cyber criminals in the country of Nigerian origin, a lot of them have given the country a bad name or a stigma, and it has shaped the youth culture to an extent. Now, I made a reference to the NSAS protest. The NSAS protest started as a result of agitations against police brutality and extrajudicial killings in Nigeria. Now, how did we get to that point where the police brutality was a major issue? There are units in the police force, in the Nigerian police force, were, that have their responsibilities to carry out some of their duties, but they formed a bias against some a stereotype, or they formed a certain bias against some people or a class of people. So if you're seen having living a certain type of lifestyle, being able to afford some things for yourself as a young Nigerian, um, being able to have some gadgets and I as some gadgets as low as an iPhone. This is sounding really crazy. Being able to afford some certain things, having some dreads or a tattoo, you are being seen as a gangster or a cyber criminal. Since they believed at the time it was not possible for you to be making such amount of money because of the bad state of the country. It was not possible to be legitimately making such amount of money in Nigeria. And this poured on, this continued. People were being arrested and brandished and stigmatized and um, stereotyped as bad people, as criminals, because we have already had the history of a history of young people or criminals in the past, cyber criminals in the past who have done things that have tainted the image of the country and its people. So this went on and eventually led to some protests. The killings went on, the arrests went on. People were now crying out. Some people, a lot of people were felt we can literally do whatever we want to do with our lives. Just because we look like this or we look some type of way or do something some type of way doesn't mean we are into cybercrime. So cybercrime has affected the youth space a lot. I cannot deny the fact that a lot of young people are also involved in cybercrime due to peer pressure, due to lack of jobs. But that is not an excuse. You, the fact that you're doing something illegal or you're damaging people's lives or you're doing a bad thing or you are giving into your greed or you are being lazy about your life or doing things that are harmful to your fellow man, irrespective of where the person is, says tells a lot of your character and your attitude or the person you are. It shows that you are literally a bad person. And this has been the case for a long while. A lot of young people are going through this phase. Um, we're always in a competitive environment. So when you're trying to achieve and you're not achieving enough, some of them stray the wrong path and do the wrong things. And this in no way, this in no way confirms or states categorically or makes a Nigerian youth a cyber criminal. This doesn't make this stigma has been on for a long while and it might be on for as long as possible in the future, but it doesn't it doesn't make the Nigerian youth who they are or who he or she is. The Nigerian youth is resilient, hardworking, um, good person who wants a good life for themselves. And we decided to make mention of this because this is also part of understanding the youth culture of the Nigerian youth. So we'll go to the next one. So here we're talking about some of the things that have led to um, the the state of the Nigerian youth life. When there is a population boom with zero, no, or none, or zero to none, sorry, utilities or amenities, and glaring mismanagement of resources, hardship and strife is the only feeling the majority will understand. Getting more opportunities, we're always in a competition to get the miniest or the tiniest of resources and opportunities because we've been so used or we've literally acclimatized to that. We've literally adopted that as our way of life. Things are we've always had bad leadership and corruption and all that, and it's in every sphere of the government and every sphere of the Nigerian youth's life. So this all this all projects um, a space, a country of hardship and strife, and a lot of people, and we have a booming population. We have lots of youths who are leaving the university, lots of youths who are trying to have a life for themselves, and they don't have jobs, they don't have means of living, they don't have opportunities, they don't have ways of going about making money for themselves or having a life for themselves or pursuing their passions. and eventually, so a majority of them turn the wrong path. A majority of them stick to their path and do the right thing. So getting more opportunities, moving ahead in life becomes a social gene amongst the populace. And this means like a lot of people want to do anything, get rich by all means, go into violence. There's violence in different parts of the country. There's greed, kidnappings, and corruption. People are now seeking ill ways of making living for themselves, or making themselves known, or making themselves heard, or making a life for themselves, doing it for different reasons best known to them. So this is also something that has been shaping the Nigerian youth culture a lot in Nigeria. So here education plays a huge part to this also. So you can see two pictures, two distinct pictures. This is what a private school, a private young school, a school for young kids or um, toddlers look like. This is what a public school looks like in the average Nigerian environment. So generally, as regards education, um, the private sector is doing more than the public sector. So um, private schools are seen um, as seen or seem to produce more talented people per se, or they are perceived as produced as people that produce more talented people. The reason is because the government neglects, just like every other sector of the economy, the government neglects has neglected or is not needs to put more effort into education, and they need to form the private public partnership or synergy, but it has not yet been achieved. And you can notice that the standard of living, or sorry, not standard of living. I'm sorry about that. The way the private schools are structured, their curriculums, and how they produce qualified students, pupils, graduates is a bit different, far off from what the public school system is like. And so parents feel it's always better for private school if you can afford it. Um, and we're not saying there are lots of public schools that are amazing, but a lot of them lack funding, lack facilities and amenities. The sector is was hit by the, the abundance of bad classrooms, poor educational standards, average teachers, little or no technical innovations, and the likes. So this is the government's nonchalant approach has been affecting the public school sector, and this affects the young people entirely. This affects how our young people, how skilled they are, the amount of skills we have a problem of skill in the country. Um, we obviously know there are limited jobs and there are no jobs, but we don't have people who are skilled enough to fill in this position. And this tells a lot also. Um, in Nigeria, the school education level, which serves as a vital link between primary and secondary school, has gotten little attention for decades. Its success has been left to chance. It is an undeniable fact, however, that the level of the nation's education is largely determined by curriculum content, learning environment, and the interaction of theory and practice, all of which are fundamental activities of teacher quality. So, secondary school, we have a picture here of what a public secondary school looks like. A majority of them look like this. The secondary school system, which is like a link between primary, secondary, and the tertiary, or the higher institution, the college, or the colleges, or universities. They're all linked together, and if each stage is not, if each part of it's just like a relay team. If each part of the relay team doesn't run its course or run its track properly to fin with intent and achieving its goal, the race is lost. So it's just like it's all connected. So the primary, the secondary, and the tertiary education, they all work hand in hand. And the federal government, state government, local government are all obliged, are all mandated to do better and make sure all these arms, especially the secondary school government, because this is where we're talking about right now, has a lot more attention than it has right now. A lot can be done better. There's no technological innovation in public schools majorly. Um, Even in private schools that seem to be doing well, they can do much more better because if you look at it in comparison with what is obtainable in other schools, yes, there are schools in other countries, yes, there are schools that are doing well, but right now we still need more. More can be done. It can always be done better. So that's what we're talking about here. Um, Nigerian's education formula is 6334, 6 years of primary education, 3 years of junior secondary education, 3 years of senior secondary education, 4 years of college or university education. Some courses in the university are over 4 years or 5 years. And why we're looking at the education is because education, like we mentioned initially in the first part, is part of the youth culture. We need to understand education, fashion, music, and this is why we are trying to understand what the education sector looks like for the Nigerian youth. Is this sufficient enough to produce qualified young Nigerians who are suitable for jobs on any level on a global scale? This is an important question we have to ask. Even worse, the Nigerian education system still imparts knowledge with an obsolete curriculum, especially in universities. Lecturers still make use of the same age-long curriculum which was used by their lecturers and lecturers before them to teach a generation that has seen several societal and technological developments. The world has changed. Things have changed from what it was before. Right now, the Nokia phones do not exist. Um, Things of the past have been changed. Smartphones are here. Artificial intelligence is here. Machine learning is here. Blockchain is here. Are we still supposed to be taking courses like introductory technology in secondary school when we can now be looking at courses that are properly fitted for job opportunities right now? Are we training our talents properly? And this tells a lot in the university. Lecturers, curriculums, um, courses, structures need to be changed, need to be revamped, to be done better, because you can't be using the same approach from decades ago, 2 or 3 decades ago, for a generation that has seen a different side of life. We are different from what we used to be, and this tells a lot. Because the right facilities have not been provided by the government, students end up learning through the method of abstract knowledge acquisition rather than first-hand practicals. There are lots of internships and trainings that are going on because now people are looking for self-sufficient skills. People are looking for communication skills. People are looking for skills that make sense. People are looking for skills that are applicable in the 21st day um, century, 21st century world. We're looking for skills that are applicable in present day offices, businesses, organizations, firms, markets, economies. So these things are things that need to be deeply understood. This is what the Nigerian youth faces. This is what can be done better to improve education and also change the youth culture positively. Um, Nigerians are very hardworking and ambition runs in our veins right from the fetal stages till we die, right from when we were small till we die. The never say never mindset keeps us pushing and striving. We're always, it's hard. Yes, we know, but we are people are, like I said, we are likened to the people who are suffering and smiling. We're always pushing ourselves, regardless of what our yesterday was. We believe a new day has turned in. Let's try again. Let's go again. Let's work again. And the society in Nigeria, as well as other African countries, is one of rugged competition and not collaboration. If you don't want it, if you don't work so hard for it, if you don't Some people cut corners to get whatever they want to get, whatever success they want to achieve. It's more like um, it's more like a a, a maze, a labyrinth, whatever you can refer to it. The country looks like that. You have to go through a lot of things, work out a plan, through hard and trying situations to achieve whatever you want to do to achieve, and that has ultimately affected our psychology. The youth that has grown has we've all come up with this mindset that we have to win. We are in it to win. We need to achieve our goals. We need to achieve our dreams. It's doable, regardless of what's happening. Let's go. Let's go. That's how the mindset is, and this has transitioned for a long time. This gets more. This everybody is on their toes, making a living for themselves, trying to work their asses off to get a life for themselves in this country. The youth, when there is a population boom with zero to no utilities, like I said, hardship and strife is the only feeling a majority will understand. And we have to re-emphasize that again. So despite the recognition of the youth as the backbone of Nigerian society, the government does not seem to have deciphered and developed an effective and comprehensive policy to deal with the issues facing the youth of Nigeria. This is a picture of Jack and one of the tech founders here in Nigeria when he was in Nigeria. And he had a very good, he always talks about Nigeria. He was very supportive of the NSAS movement. He created platforms, channels for people to fund the movement. He, just like other founders who hold Nigeria dear to heart, he did a lot. He keeps doing a lot. Um, Although we are pained that the Twitter headquarters, the first Twitter office in Africa didn't come to Nigeria, which is understandable. It went to Ghana because it seemed to be a perfect fit for what they were looking for at the time. Um, in an attempt to solve the problems of the Nigerian youth, development programs such as the country has brought up lots of programs like Shopee, promotion of small scale event enterprises, sorry, and power. Every day we have this kind of programs, the National Youth Service, um, all these programs pop up. The government, every new dispensation, every new government comes up with their program to help the youth. And the question they fail to ask themselves is, what is the problem? What is it solving? How is it solving? Why did the others not solve the problem? How can we make this better? And it's just majority of them come out with this glorified outlook. Just sometimes they do it for eye service. Majority of the times they do it to to embezzle funds and all that, and carry on with their corruption. And this tells a lot. But at this point in time, the youth are the people who are feeling the hate of it. We are on the bad side of the table. Now we need these things to be done properly. These programs to actually address the needs of the people who need it the most or who need them the most. And despite our contribution to the society, our recognition, we are the large, we are we make up over 60% of the population, of the Nigerian population, the governments, the people, everyone knows that we are contributing a lot to the economy in terms of businesses, tech startups who are popping up every day, um, programs, um, talents, uh, corporations in whatever sector. We are doing our bit, but it seems like we are still yet to be um, figured out. We're still yet to be factored in what needs to be done to move the country right. And this takes a lot. This says a lot, to be honest. Next slide. Conclusion. Having explored the subject of youth culture in Nigeria, this study ascertains that a new generation of young Nigerians is categorized by a creative way of doing things, learning, reacting, and adapting. So we have our own creative way of doing things. We learn, we react, and then we tend to adapt. So we'll be looking at some of the sectors we just spoke of in bullets or in short forms. Sorry, entertainment. Young Nigerians have created a blend of music. For instance, Afrobeats, which is a big deal right now. Everyone seems to want to be a part of Afrobeats, wants to understand what Afrobeats is in the US. It's big in the US, in the UK, everywhere in Europe. International superstars, athletes, they all vibe to Afrobeats kind of song. They tell you they love Nigerian music. And this is peculiar to us. And we have made a global name for ourselves in such areas like music and film. Hollywood is doing its bit, but Nollywood is close behind it. It's largely one of the highest source of revenue for the Nigerian economy. It employs one of the highest amount of people in Nigeria. Technology is another sector that's really huge. Nigerian youths, and as regards the what the youths are doing, Nigerian youths have done great experts in the world of tech. Their innovations and ideas have distinguished them as a formidable force to reckon with in the world of tech. Um, Companies, multinational companies like Google, Facebook, um, PayPal, Square, Stripe, Twitter, they all have senior staff and um, talents that are Nigerian, and not only Nigerian that live in Nigeria or work from Nigeria or have lived in Nigeria almost their entire lives. And we also have large tech companies here in Nigeria of Nigerian origin or companies that were, were founded by Nigerian people, local Nigerian founders. Um, we have over four okay, no, we have over five unicorns right now in Nigeria, um, and it's the highest on the African planet, African continent. Sorry, it's one of the highest in this part of the world, in Middle and Eastern Asia, and Asian, sorry, in Middle East and Asian part of the world. We are doing amazing numbers in tech. We have people every day. We're producing over 25,000 tech talents daily. It's a sector that is booming. And one thing with sectors that are booming, once Nigerians hear about it, they want to get into it because they want to make money for themselves. They want to be resilient. They want to make a life for themselves. We have that spirit, Nigerian spirit of trying to achieve regardless of what is happening. Oh, is this what is the intent? Bitcoin is a big deal right now in Nigeria. Blockchain, cryptocurrencies are a big deal in Nigeria. Nigeria contributes one of the highest amount of users of blockchain and cryptocurrency in the world. We're competing with countries like the US, Germany, and the likes. We're pro tech every day, every minute of our lives. And the young people are the people who are pushing these boundaries because we want to achieve things. We want to do things for ourselves. We want to make things for ourselves. We want to have a living, do better for ourselves and our families. And tech has been a medium to do that. Sorry about that. Politics. Here you have a picture of the NSAS that just ended. Politics is a part of the youth culture right now, and it has changed from what it used to be before. Now we have what they call the Suroseke generation, or what it just means is speak up. That means say what you have to say. Nothing is going to like we know we all need to speak up right now. Nothing is going to. What's the worst that could happen? That's the mindset we have right now. We've had enough. Enough is enough. We need to do. We need to fix the country right. And the young people are coming out and showing their support. The NSAS was one of the things that the leaders never saw it coming. There was no leader of the protest. Everybody was a leader of the protest. Young people were getting involved. Um, you see young people bashing top political leaders from the presidents, the governors down to senators. You can't say anything and get away with it. Um, we have a way of putting out our stuff on social media, making the world aware, running hashtags, being active, going, understanding what elections. If we have an election coming up in 2023, and there's this rave about everybody getting their PVC voting rights, knowing who you want to vote, not vote for personal benefits, understand what is happening in the party, join the party. The movement is huge right now. Um, Policies, we now we understand because a long time we've always been left out of the table. Up up until as we speak, we've always been excluded. Our president, our current president, made a statement some time ago that um, he 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 called us some form of names, and people, there was an outrage, there was a mad outrage about it. They said Nigerian youths, lazy Nigerian youths, in quotes. He said some certain things. He keeps on saying things about the youth. And before, it seemed like before everyone got into power, or everyone gets into power, every leader gets into power, they try to please the youths, try to get them on their own side, which is the same thing. Get them, try to get on their good books, and then when they get in there, they do as they please. And now it has come to a point where we don't care anymore. We are the youths are now pro politics. We're now making our words heard. We're now saying things we want to say without considering the without considering what is going to happen to anybody. We're damning the consequences, doing whatever we want to do, saying it as it is. And um, in the coming years and previous years, there has been a different, it is obviously and it will be a different thing from what has been happening over the past. So this says a lot. This says a lot. This is where we are at this point in time. Um, so we're just going to highlight some certain things. People have lamented the declension of the present generation of youth in contrast to earlier generations. So some people are of the opinion, a lot of people are of the opinion also that that's being it does the youth culture right now is wayward, it's doing more harm than good. They have some reason to that. It's understandable, but we need to understand that change has to be change doesn't come easy. People have to understand change, and sometimes it's not all. It comes with a lot of garbage. It's not all good. So sometimes there are things that happen on social media, on everyday life, on the streets. Things are happening that are not so good, that are negative, and people are attributing this to a decline of the youth culture in contrast to our previous generations. And some people will tell you a group of a school of thought will also tell you that what's happened, how did that help us? We've been over 61 years as a country right now. We've still not achieved what we need to achieve. We're still far away from what we need to achieve as a country, and as a country that is so blessed in resources, um, and people, human capital, we've not gotten where we need to get. How did all that we did before, how did all that end up in getting us to here, where we are right now? Don't you think we need, people always think it's better, we need to do things better, we should accept a new way of life. And this is a daily debate on the streets, on social media, and in every corner of Nigeria. So culture determines these values, and the previous generation sees it as a duty to preserve their own values by passing it to the next generation. So this further buttresses my point of, or our point of, we're not trickling down our our previous culture, our indigenous Nigerian culture. No, the Nigerian youths are not trickling it down or watering it down, or we're not dissolving it. No, we are just adding or seeing ways it can look better or be done better. Things can be done better. We're adding a touch of the Western culture to it. And understanding the youth culture will help the society to recognize how young people differentiate themselves from older generations, the state of points. So this like what we're doing here, on this presentation. It will help you understand that this is why the youth culture has changed. This is what it has in store for the environment, for the society, for the community. Um, we're different, and we need to understand why these differences or how these differences is affecting the everyday life of the Nigerian and the Nigerian youth. In the previous generation, there existed conformity to cultural values in Nigeria. For instance, their moral values shaped their dresses, the way they responded to elders, and other moral considerations. Also, social values such as sports, festivals, games, etc. had a cultural undertone, and their religious values were held in high regard. It's, this is what this just means is in the times past, there were things that held them together, moral, majorly um, social, ethnic, religious kind of values, morality related that held a lot of us. I'm not saying we're not saying this has changed entirely. You can still see the traces of it here and there, but it has it has taken on a new look. And this is largely because of technology and social media. The young people interact and form their own ideologies for themselves. They don't need to conform to what has always been. They now question the status quo. Okay, they you can tell before you could probably tell someone in times past you could tell someone a Nigerian youth, this is like this, and would adhere to it hook, line, and sinker. But right now, if you tell the person this is how it is, he would have to double check on that. He'll have to do a rain check on that and get back to you and tell you, okay, this is I don't think this might be like this. And this is because there's a lot of technology. We are living in a digital world right now. Social media influences the Gen Z, the Gen X, the millennial generation, the Soroseke generation. They now have this as a way of acceptance. They now accepted. We now understand that we have this these tools. This we have this activity. We have these things we can go to to check on if this is right or if this is not right. Um, we have things that now make us understand. Okay, what you thought about religion is not, and people are now questioning things about religion. People are now questioning things about how things were done before. So this says a lot about what the youth culture is right now in Nigeria. This says a whole lot, and it's important to understand that. So here we have a picture of one of the iconic pictures from the NSAS protest. And during the NSAS protest, Nigerian youth we did a lot of good for ourselves. We coordinated ourselves. We led a protest, a peaceful protest against the police, against police brutality. The government always has their go-to plan, which is to cause disunity, which they tried. They couldn't really achieve that earlier on because the protest had no face, had no leader. We were all the entire Nigerian youths were the leaders. Everybody came out from their homes, from their houses to walk on the streets in different places. They didn't have a leader per se. We You can see people setting up um, campaign protest grounds with charging ports, charging locations, toilets, where to eat, feeding. People were bringing food, ambulance services, health services. Music was being played. Um, Rallies were being held. Um, Affirmations were being said in a peaceful manner, and unfortunately, it turned out to be a bloody end because we lost a lot of young people at the Lekki toll gate massacre on the 20th of October. A lot of young people who were protesting there, um, army officials came there and shot sporadically into the air. And up to date, there is a live online Instagram recording of the events that happened that day. and how people were affected. And the government keeps on debunking that, but there have been reports from international news houses like CNN, the BBC, Al Jazeera, local content, local news channels, local writers, um, international writers who have affirmed that this event happened and some people suffered for it by the loss of their lives. And this was a big turning point in this nation because it showed that the youths were willing to stand up. Um, we stood up for ourselves. We took care of ourselves. We protested peacefully. The young people, because the country, the economy is at the lowest it can possibly be, and it's going lower. It's getting worse by the day. Inflation, there are no jobs. People are getting tired of their life. People are leaving Nigeria in their numbers every day. We have the highest amount of young people applying for applications to leave, for scholarships. They just want to get out of Nigeria. And things are getting worse, killings. So it felt like we can't get any jobs. The youths were crying out, we can't get any jobs, we can't get anything. We can't, we provide electricity, water, power supply, electricity, power supply, water. There are no roads. We provide food for ourselves. We don't have 24-hour power supply. We don't have water, steady water supply in different parts of this country. There are no good roads in the country. There are no jobs in the country, and yet you still are killing the young people. And that was why the NSAS protest was a big deal. There were recordings. People took advantage of social media. These days in Nigeria, if something is happening, someone picks up his phone and records it, and it's online. A lot of people have to say it was never the same way. And our leaders are now careful. People are being extra careful in what they do. And they've got lots of people in, in very compromising positions, places, leaders, people of people who are office holders, who are doing things um, that are negative or against the Nigerian state. And it's been aired online on social media. And NSAS protest was aired all through. Things were things were trends were it trended number one on Twitter for days and weeks. Um, things were going on. People were supporting the movement from international superstars, musicians, international politicians, um, heads of states, presidents, were all in support of the movement. And it died a painful one. I wouldn't say it died, sorry. I would rather say it stopped for a while. It just stopped then because it still lives in the mind of the young people. We all have that in our mind that we are still fighting for a nation that we have envisaged. We have this nation. We know what this nation can become. The problem is the people who should do the right thing aren't doing the right thing, and it's a pain to watch. So it's clear we need to clearly state also that during this protest there are some people who were also against the protest, and the majority of them were also northern, and there is a bias about religion and tribe in Nigeria. Majority of our crises are ethno-religious related, and so you always have this bias. So that's why we had some northern youths and some people who had political attachments disengaging themselves from the protest and saying it was wrong. Um, so we go to the next one. However, the problem of Nigerian youth has not ceased to prevail. As an integral part of any society, youths are key propellers of growth and development in any society. This is a fact, and it is clear that a toxic environment is a hindrance to the growth of the youth. Nigeria seems to be that toxic environment, and that's why the youth are not performing. We are yet to perform. We are yet to brush. We're just at we've not taken up, we've not really done all we need to do. There's so much potential that's untapped, and it's painful to watch. Also, um, Therefore, with the right environment and support, Nigerian youth will soar higher and bring development to our country. Our country. This is a fact. This is this cannot be disputed. Um, the majority of everything moving in this country, if you look at it from different sectors of this country, the economy are being driven by the Nigerian youths. So here we have a picture of some of the people who. There's a picture of someone holding a placard of some of the people who were killed by SARS. The high level of corruption, particularly at high places, should be tackled, whereas responsibility in government should be institutionalized. However, this should be anchored on replacement economics, different from this peripheral capitalist system. Nigerian leaders should notice that Nigerian issues should be tackled by Nigerians and through the Nigerian youth. And this is where we'll be ending this on this note. We've had a long x-ray, a long surgery of what the Nigerian youth culture looks like. And this tells a lot. Um, a lot needs to be done better to help the youths. The youth culture is so beautiful, so complex, yet yet simple. It has its complexities, but we are very open with Nigerians are purpose-driven, resilient, result-oriented, um, always looking for a better life for themselves. And this was one session that I love the most because I'm a youth and I'm Nigerian and I'm speaking to you from Nigeria. And thank you so much for having an amazing session with me. Take care.